Tails and Scales, The Empty Throne. Chapter 3, A Testing Moment. As the sun rises above the white stone city of Athera, Silvus wears his monastery robe along with a bag filled with writing supplies to prepare for a special day. After 1 whole month of studying, he is confident that he will pass the exam and become an official miscaster. Leaving the private quarters hall, he enters the throne room to see it more brightly lit, thanks to the sun's rays shining through the mosaic glass windows. The shine gives him a good positive feeling about the test, as if the spirits themselves are giving him a sign. He climbs down the stairs to approach the large iron doors being opened by the 2 guards nearby. Now in the flower-filled courtyard, Silvus approaches the castle gates until a voice calls out to him. Silvus turns his head to see his mother approach him with a smile, along with Orzine and her bodyguard carrying a big spear with a shady expression. "Attempting to go to the big day without us wishing you luck, Silvus?" His uncle Orzine speaks, with his claws behind his back, looking stiff. "I guess got a bit too excited." Silvus scratches the back of his head and looks to see that his cousin's not around. "Where is Iko?" he asks.
"Probably still sleeping late as usual,"
Orzine complains and shrugs.
"But that is my son being my son, however annoying he could be."
Silvira gives a quick laugh before speaking to her son.
"My dear only son, listen to me. I want you to know that whether you pass the exam or not, just know we will always be supportive of you. However, if you do pass, we are going to start with your training to become the next Beta Lord,"
she explains, as Orzine behind her whispers something in his snout, catching Silvus' attention for a bit. He could have sworn his uncle whispered, "If we survive another day," with a hint of fear in his voice. He decides to ignore it for now, as he needs to keep a positive attitude if he wants to pass the final exam. "Thanks, Mom, but I know for sure I'm going to pass this test. I've been studying since it was first announced. When I passed, I will use my abilities to be the best Beta Lord of Magalo I could be," Silvus boasts, full of excitement. Sophia walks up to him to give him a big hug, and Silvus hugs her back in return. As the mother and son have their moment, the latter decides to give her blessing.
"May the spirits help you succeed, my son."
"Same with you, Mother," Silvus replies back as he starts to hear a bell ring, alerting him that Magalo Monastery is opening. Not wanting to be late, Silvus breaks off the hug and tells his mother and uncle that he has to go and waves as he leaves. Behind him, Silvira and Orzine wave back, only for them to make worried faces, knowing that the worst is yet to come.
"More like spirits have mercy on our souls,"
Orzine whispers to Silvira. Now, in the monastery district, located at the west part of the city, Silvus sees that the campus is crowded with students and teachers alike, swarming into a circular tower where all the final exams are going to take place. With a deep breath, the eager student proceeds into the main building to see a lot of guards patrolling around, keeping an eye out. He wonders if it has to do with the rumors going around. Makes sense that his mother would order a heavy guard presence. Silvus shakes off the thought to continue through the crowd of students, all the way to a big arching staircase with a big portrait of an old female raptor, with a plaque that reads, "Vessel Avera." He climbs up all the way to the 3rd floor, where his classroom is located. Inside the auditorium-like classroom, 50 students sit around the rows of seats, talking with each other. Silvus, sitting straight around the front row, keeps to himself to think about what he has studied for the exam. He hears a nearby door open, gaining the attention of himself and the other students, as an elderly brown male in a gray robe enters, pushing a cart filled with papers. The professor heads to the large desk belonging to him, places the cart right by it. The professor turns around, looking just as excited as Silvus, who just sat to listen.
"Good morning, class. Today is the day that you're all going to be tested as to whether or not you will become official mistcasters,
the professor announces in pure happiness, while the other students make small whispers to each other. Silvus looks excited and eager to take the test. The professor in front explains the rules of the exam, like no looking at each other's papers, and those who finish the exams early are not to talk to the students who are still taking the exam. Once he is done, the professor takes out a big packet of 50 exams for 50 students with his levitation spell to pass them around quickly.
Remember, class, take the exam slow and steady. We have all day. And if you fail, I will be eager to see you all next time. May the spirits guide you.
The professor makes his final statement as the students receive their exam. Some students who read through the exam got nervous, hinting that they did not study as hard. Silvus, on the other claw, made a big grin on how easy his test is. At least to him, that is. The exam that Silvus is taking are mostly essay questions and some multiple choice. For example, he has to name all 6 schools of mistcraft. First, he writes Elemental, the school that involves controlling the elements of fire, ice, and thunder. Gravitation, the school that involves bending gravity and physical forces. Illusionary, the school that involves bending one's mind. Life Mend, the school involving healing powers. Spirit Bind, the school that involves summoning guardian spirits and objects. And Enchanting, the school that involves creating enchantments, curses, and hexes. Being very prepared, he prepares his writing quill and speeds through the exam without a sweat. He only pauses for one particular question. It reads, in a paragraph or more, explain dark mistcraft and why is it considered forbidden. Silvus wonders if the professor is expecting future casters to know about dark mistcraft. He thinks back in the Defense Against the Evil Arts class when a teacher would give a big lecture about dark mist. Ironically, his mother told him about it yesterday in a story. So he just wrote his answer in 2 paragraphs with his quill pen. In 1 paragraph, he writes that dark mistcraft is an evil source of power from the evil spirits in one's heart. The other writes that using dark mistcraft not only corrupts the soul of a raptor, but also turns into a monstrosity. Finishing the exam in 30 minutes, he is the first to turn in his test to the professor, as always. Some students who noticed made small grunts in annoyance, as the professor is not a bit surprised that Silvus, whom he considers his best student, finished the final exam first.
First to finish, as always, young Silvus. You should look over your test,
the professor advises, but Silvus assures him that he did great and goes back to his seat. The professor immediately grades Silvus' exam, and as expected, he passes it with a perfect score. He gets off his seat to his cart to search through a list of files for each student. The files are test records that students have completed. One file in particular belongs to Silvus. Silvus, sitting in front, watches the professor looking a bit nervous. He sees him look around his test scores one by one for all the years he has been in school. The professor gets off from his desk to announce,
Attention, class. I am going to head up to the top floor for an important matter. So if any of you are done, place your papers on my desk. As for you, Silvus, come with me.
He points at Silvus, freaking him out. Silvus wonders why he would want him to follow him. Is he in trouble? Did he fail his exam for the first time? Whatever the truth is, he does as he's told and follows the professor. The top floor is a big lobby, shaped like a half circle with a big wooden door in front. The professor stops his tracks to tell Silvus to wait for him outside as he enters through the doors. To pass the time, Silvus gazes up the ceiling, which is painted black with white stars. The brightest star painted on the ceiling is believed to be the very first spirit that created the universe and planted the well springs across the kingdom. That is what the legends say. Silvus's thoughts are interrupted by the pair of doors opening by the professor, who peeps his head out, telling Silvus to come in. The curious student walks in to be greeted by a room lightly dimmed by blue flames on the walls. In the room, he sees a row of 7 figures wearing robes lined up across the half circle on separate circular platforms. Behind him, 2 armored knights close the door as 4 more knights come out of the shadows from the sides.
Are you Vessel Silvus?
The center figure in a hologram-like state speaks with the voice of an elderly male. Silvus nervously nods yes. His nervousness is due to knowing who they are. The most respected miscasters to ever live, and overseers of a monastery.
Step forward,
commands the head figure, making Silvus walk forward as commanded. When he steps into the center mosaic floor, with a big picture of a big star, he is commanded to stop and kneel on one knee.
I assume you know who we are,
the figure asks. Yes, Lord Sage, you are all the legendary Mystatorium, the council of 7 of the best miscatchers of all the kingdom, who oversee all practice of mistcraft, my lord. Silvus formally explains to them.
Do you know why you're here?
No, sir, but I have thought that I was in trouble. The 7 members of the council looked at each other, as if Silvus had another head, and whispered to each other. They assure him that he is not in trouble, as they want to tell him about an important matter.
To start, young Silvus, you have perfectly passed the final exam,
the head one explains, making Silvus beam up with a satisfied sigh. Only for the head figure to tell him,
Don't get too comfy yet, as we have some questions.
What do you mean? Silvus asks.
Since the day you enrolled, the professors have been informing us that you managed to learn Mistcraft at a rapid pace. You even managed to pass every exam that was given to you.
The figure's voice sounded neither critical nor appeasing, but had a tone of hopeful praise. Silvus couldn't help but make a nervous chuckle and twiddle his talons like thumbs. What can I say, Archsage? I just like learning Mistcraft and reading my books. Silvus shrugs his arms.
I am surprised that you do not notice your uniqueness. According to legends, one family posed that same unique gift to learn Mistcraft without much training like a real master. Curious.
The leader, the Archsage, scratches his chin.
We, the Mystatorium, shall look into this matter, but regardless, I want to be the first to say congratulations on passing your exam. However, there is one more test we reserve for special raptors like yourself.
Silvus makes a nervous gulp as he listens to what the final test is. The Archsage commands him to step back away from the center. In the center, a hole opens up, followed by a pedestal rising up with an orb.
This orb you see here has the ability to transport your soul into the Netherworld, where you must confront an evil spirit. Touch it when you are ready, young one, and the final test shall begin,
the Archsage explained. What will happen if I fail? Silvus asks, looking more nervous.
We will simply pull you out from the realm in disappointment. You will not be allowed to perform Mistcraft, ever,
the Archsage answers with a serious tone. Silvus walks up to the orb on the pedestal and gazes around it. He wonders what it's supposed to do when he touches it. Whatever the final test is, he can only pray that he will be ready. He grabs it with 2 claws and waits for something to happen. He is about to ask until the orb starts flashing in front of him, blinding him with bright light in the process. Silvus slowly opens up his eyes to see that he is lying on a black rocky ground. He gets back up onto his 2 talon feet and checks himself to see that he's still wearing his uniform. Thank the spirits. He looks around to see that he's in some kind of wasteland with tons of black, horrifying towers that surround him. The sky above is colored bright red, instead of blue with clouds that thunder. Silvus starts to walk around the narrow path to see statues of raptors in agony. Is this the Netherworld? Silvus thinks to himself. The strange realm indeed fits the description of the mysterious Netherworld that he has heard about. From a distance on the path, he sees a big black castle of some sort, probably made for the lord of the realm. He hears a demonic voice call out to him, making him turn around to see a clone of himself, except his eyes are serpent red, indicating he is evil. Looking at him with an evil grin, the fake Silvus begins to walk forward, making the real Silvus walk back in fear.
Don't be shy. I came here to see you. It's been a while since we had any guests in this realm.
The fake Silvus speaks with mockery in his demonic voice.
Maybe we need to be somewhere private.
Evil Silvus snaps his claw, followed by a flash, making a boom sound, teleporting them on one of the evil towers. This is the Netherworld, is it? Silvus demands as he tries to regain his balance after teleporting.
Smart one, aren't ya?
Evil Silvus speaks from behind, making his good twin turn to see him walk slowly. Evil Silvus explains to him that the trillions of towers that he sees is a private sanctuary, housing all the evil spirits, as the head evil spirit is inside the lone big castle to oversee all evil within the realm. So those towers are more like eternal prisons? Silvus describes, making his evil spirit clench his heart like a drama queen.
Ouch, that hurts so much. But to explain further, this tower that we are on is not just any tower.
He begins to walk up to Silvus, keeping his sinister smile on his face.
This is my personal tower, as I am not just any evil spirit that your kind describe me as.
The evil spirit looks right into Silvus's eyes to say,
I am your evil spirit. I have a proposition for you.
Silvus steps back with a glare. What deal can you give me? It's not like there's a big price for it, he demands, knowing about the trickery from the evil spirits. Silvus's evil spirit only laughs in return.
Kid, you want to learn Mistcraft in order to become the best Baylord, right? What if I say I can grant you Dark Mistcraft, in order for you to pursue that dream that you desire?
It further tempts, keeping a smile on. I think I'm doing pretty well without the forbidden art, wouldn't you say? Silvus retorts, folding his arms and looking confident as he gets over his fear of the evil spirit. The evil spirit is now starting to look angry at the mortal's petty defiance. It tries to find a way to get him to accept the evil gift.
True, but the gift could grant your claw back. And more importantly, it can bring you to your father. Don't you want to know who your father is?
Silvus flinches at the question about his father. The evil spirit thinks it got him, so he pries further.
Isn't it sad to grow up without knowing who your father is? I wonder if your father is a useless drunk or a snobbish noble. There's only one way to find out.
Silvus thinks back to his hatchling hood. It is easy to think about his life without a father, and only for him to think about a certain uncle who is like a father to him. Having an uncle as a father figure blessed him with 2 first cousins whom he considers to be his own siblings he will never have. If his real father was still alive, his mother probably loved him enough for him to exist at all. A flash booms in between him and the evil spirit to see a white glowing figure with his hood up. The figure looks at the evil spirit with a glare.
What are you doing here, spirit?
The evil spirit demands. The third guest, the good spirit, looks at a shocked Silvus with a smile, ignoring the evil spirit's demand. You might not know who I am, young Silvus, but I am here to tell you that your father is way more special than you think. He watches over you from the heavens, guiding you through your own blood. Silvus gazes at the spirit, whose voice had a sound of trustworthy male. The spirit's face had a smile on its silver face, with an eye color identical to his. The evil spirit tried to pounce at him for interfering, only for it to be hit by an invisible wall. Suddenly, Silvus sees himself beginning to fade, as his time in the world is up. He looks back up at the spirit with worry. "Wait! Please tell me who you are!" The spirit only looks down to explain. "Just know that I will always be guiding you and your family even in death. Just promise me to always be on guard against any temptation of the influence of evil, and also take care of your mother." Silvus did not know what to think at this point. After he fades, the spirit, with a tear leaking through his eye, said, "Spirits guide you and your family, my son." And he flashes back to the heavens, where he belongs, leaving the evil spirit unconscious on the ground. End of chapter 3.